Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be learning how to make the easiest pencil skirt you have ever made. It's a very simple tutorial, very self-explanatory. If this is what you are interested in, let's get right into it. We first start by marking on our lining. We are going to do all the markings on our lining first. So the back pattern is longer than the front pattern at the center by 1 inch, which will be used for zipper allowance. So we'll go ahead and mark our starting line, which is also our waistline, and then from my waistline I mark my waist to hip measurement. Mine is 9.5. The half is for seam allowance. I mark my knee measurement, that is my waist to knee, which is 20, and then the full length of the skirt, which is 38 inches. Extend these lines in a horizontal way, and then on the waistline mark your waist divided by 4. We are not going to have a dot in this skirt. And then on your hip line mark your hip divided by 4. On your knee is your hip divided by 4 minus 1 inch or 1.5 inches. You do the same for the bottom of the skirt. Connect the point on your waistline to your hip line, and then from your hip line to your knee line. Very simple. Sorry guys, I realized my waist was not showing, but it is up there. It will later be shown in the video. Sorry you can't see it right now. And then make sure you smoothen the sharp edges, just as you see me doing. So that is our hip line, our knee line, and then the full length of the skirt. Our waistline is above the hip line, that is 9.5 inches. I added 1 inch allowance on each side. Then connected it together. Our skirt pattern is almost ready, and it's now time for us to cut it out. You can decide to add 1.5 inches or 2 inches allowance depending on your own personal preference. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I hope you enjoy your stay, and let's help this channel grow. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So you notch the hip line, then our pattern is ready. So I used the lining to cut out the fashion fabric, just as you see. The back, I had 2 pieces for the back. Then you slash open the back patterns. That is how come you have 2 pieces for the back. I hope you understand. So the 1 inch allowance for the zip, that is where you are going to slash it. And then we are going to reduce our lining by just 1 inch. You can decide to reduce by 2 inches, 3 inches, but I just decided to reduce it by just 1 inch. So that is the front lining. Reduce it by 1 inch. Then we do same for the back lining. I reduce the back lining as well by just 1 inch. Now you see, your lining is shorter than the main fabric by just 1 inch. Okay, so you notch the center. So we are going to take the fashion fabric and the lining to the sewing table, and then we are going to stitch the top and then the down. So you stitch with just 1/2 inch. Don't forget, I also came down by 1/2 inch in the middle of the front panel, forming a curve like shape, and then you sew the bottom as well. I've gone ahead to sew the bottom and then the top of each of the fabric. So you see the curve of the front pattern. So you turn it over like this, as I'm doing. make sure you push the lining towards the front or the upper part. You see, so you're going to realize that your fashion fabric is longer than the lining. Iron it flat, and this is what we have right now. So you bring in your back pattern. Then front side facing each other, or the good side facing each other, sorry. We are going to stitch in the zipper allowance before we stitch on the side. So that is the zipper allowance. We take it to our sewing table, and then we've gone ahead to stitch it out and iron it flat. On the waistline, instead of the 1 inch, I went in by 1.5 inches, so it will form this curve. I hope you see it. And then after the hip line, go in by 1.5 inches on the knee line. This will help to create the bust contouring. I like to always retake my measurement before I stitch or I do the final stitching. So the crease line that forms the middle of the pattern, you retake your measurement. Then you do same for the other side. Retake your measurement both on the left and on the right. If you notch the hip line, finding the hip will not be difficult for you. You just trace it out, then connect as shown. Very easy and very simple. Just as we did before on the lining, the knee is the hip divided by 4 minus 1 or 1.5 inches. You put the same measurement for the bottom of the skirt. Make sure you smoothen the sharp edges. So you go ahead and stitch on the line you've provided. I've gone ahead to do that, and then we are going to flip it to the good side. This is what we have right now. Our skirt is almost ready. You make sure you iron it flat, and then at the back you measure how long you want your slit, your back slit to be. It depends on your own personal preference. Then you're going to rip open that seam to create the slit, and then the same for the zipper allowance. Please make sure all the time your zipper for the skirt is longer than 9 inches. It makes it easy to wear. I went ahead to add ruffles to the skirt, and this is the final look of the skirt. Very beautiful and very easy tutorial. I hope you tried it out. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe.